First of all, I'll do introductions at the moment for new members, but first of all, apologies for absence, please.
I've had apologies for councillors Bushell and Orange.
Okay. Thank you, and I'll do those questions on that. So welcome councillors, officers, members of the public, and this came online.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Reminder: please switch your mobile phones to silent. Let's remind myself. If there's any members of the public or press attending, can I please ask switch your microphones off to avoid disruption. The meeting recorded and available in due course on council's YouTube channel. Still have my phone off. Looks like it is. Sorry. The volume down. Right. To ensure those attending virtually and in person, can you please ensure you project your voice and speak clearly? It's Chris. Remember, it's a full meeting, and please refer to each other, not refer to by your first names. No fire alarm tonight, so if there is a fire alarm, please assemble at the top end of the car park, rain or not. Okay. 44. So item 2 to approve the correct record the minutes of the meeting held on 22nd of September 2025. I know that some of you weren't there. Thank you. Seconder, all in favour that was there. That's us three, I think. Yeah, that's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I think at this point, I'm sort of do introductions and a minute silence. I think at this point, is that right? So introductions, we've got tonight 2 new councillors joining the committee. Welcome, Councillor Cam and Councillor Rossi. And hopefully a bit later on, Councillor Tops might join us a bit later. So welcome to the committee. Thank you. I think as the officers introduce reports, we'll do the instructions for the officers, if that's all right. As it's 11th of November, I'm proposing to have a minute's silence. So that's any objections to that? So okay, if you could time it, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Moving on to item 4, declarations of interest.
So I've received interest from councillors Norman, Can, Hayworth Booth, Quinn and Walker, which is they've declared an other registrable interest, which is in items 6 and 7, and they've requested a dispensation in respect of item 7.
Any other declarations? Thank you. 5, to agree the agenda between Part A and Part B. There's no Part B. It's only one meeting of the year. We don't have a Part B quite often, isn't it?
Yes, this is it.
Yeah, this is the one. So moving on to Part A. Item 6, dispensation for dual-hatted parish town district councillors for community governance review. So item 6 is to consider dispensation in respect of item 7 that will require affected councillors to leave the room. Not yet. Given this will result in the meeting becoming incorrect, I will seek to request the monitoring officer to consider using his delegated powers at paragraph 10.15 of Annex 2 to Part 3 of the Constitution to allow the meeting to proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah. So as provided in the Constitution, my delegated power is limited to granting or refusing dispensation to a member to participate on a matter that would otherwise be barred by the Code of Conduct, but only on grounds that without the dispensation, the meeting would be incorrect. It is evident that this would be the case here, and therefore my decision is to retain Councillor Norman in order to retain the chair, so it is least disruptive to the flow of the committee, and we need at least three councillors, and also Councillor Quinn, because more than one political group must be represented to achieve quorum. And the proposal for Ilfracombe under item 7 is a proposal by the town council itself, which I understand to be uncontroversial and is being done to itself rather than a proposal by another town stroke parish, as is the case for Lankey, and hence why I preferred retaining Councillor Quinn over Councillor Hayworth Booth. So that's my So that's my delegated decision. So if the other councillors were wanting to leave the room for
Councillor Quinn and Rutty stay in the room and go out and hopefully back in a few moments. Thank you. Too far. So over to Mr. Dollar again.
That's fine.
Thank you.
So yes, so this item recommends that a dispensation be approved for the councillors named in the report, to allow those councillors to take part in the deliberation and vote on matters related to the community governance review, despite having another registrable interest in the matter. I've received a written request from each of the named councillors on the basis that their inclusion is in the interests of persons living in the authority's area and is otherwise appropriate. Note that this is recommended as a standing dispensation. This means that we will not need to revisit consideration of dispensations when the community governance review matter returns to governance committee in the future. Because it is intended to run until the process is concluded or the expiry of 4 years, whichever is the earlier. On considering the matter with other monitoring officers across Devon, this is considered appropriate practice for a matter like community governance reviews, where multiple councillors are impacted by a decision, as is the case here, with so many being on town and parish councils that are affected by the decision. The Code of Conduct is not aimed at preventing an individual member from considering the same issue at more than one tier of local government, including speaking and voting in both tiers. And there is no indication or evidence suggesting that the listed members are prejudiced or biased in respect of this matter. And therefore, the recommendation is to approve the request for a standing dispensation as set out in the report.
Thank you. So, any questions, or can I go straight on to?
Could I ask what parish councils these councillors represent?
We've got Barnsley Town Council. The ones that left the room, or in total, Barnsley Town Council, Fremington, Tallstock, and Lankey and Ilfracombe.
Okay, as long as it's an even split, I
represent Ilfracombe, but I haven't gone because of the dispensation to actually have this vote.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I'm asking for a proposer and a seconder. All in favour. Thank you very much. It's a procedure we need to go through. Especially, I think, Mr. Fuller, you've had to use that, I think, for.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's been used much. But
No, thank you. So, thank you.
Right.
Yeah, we were in the first time, I've been set, we were picked it up.
The moment to get settled. Welcome back. Councillors. Thank you for the other councillors to allow you back. Okay, moving on to item 6, we're going to review draft regulations, pages 21 to 182. And I think, Mr. Pato, are you introducing?
Yes, I am, Chair, thank you, yeah. Evening, members. At your June committee, it was agreed to start a community governance review based on a number of proposals received from town and parish councils. In line with that process, we've been out for consultation between the 4th of July and 30th September, and the full consultation results have been set out for you in Appendix A on your agenda. The CGR recommendations should be compliant with 3 legal tests. 1, do the recommendations reflect the identities and interests of the area under review? Secondly, do the recommendations support effective, convenient local government? 3, has account been taken of other arrangements for community representation and engagement? Based on the 3 tests and feedback from the community governance consultation, draft recommendations have been set out for you in Appendix B for your consideration. In line with best practice, the recommendations that are supported this evening will go back out again for a second round of consultation up to the 30th of January, with final recommendations coming back to you at your March Governance Committee before going to April to full council. I'll shortly pass over to Debbie Chandler and Rob Bates from our electoral team to take you through the draft recommendations in Appendix B. It's then hopefully we'll deal with the recommendations in block, depending on the level of discussions. It may be that we take each in turn, but we'll see how those discussions go, Chair.
Thank you. Over to.
So Appendix B, then the draft recommendations. Also, we can refer to the maps in Appendix D, E and F. And we're also going to share on the screen the inside or the mapping tool logged in Council, so you may be able to see proposals there more clearly. So starting with the proposals A1 then to A3. A1 and A2 were from Flemington and Torstock, proposing the same proposals for that one, because currently at the moment the current boundary line goes right the way through the industrial estate, so it was to pull it round or join on from the A3125, so and that makes it a clear boundary on that road. Proposal A3 then was to take it off on the north bit, which was to include the extend the parish boundary to incorporate Birch Lane to the Old Biddyford Road, and then follow the Old Biddyford Road up to the Roundswell. So the whole of like Sainsbury's then would be taken, and also from the Birch Lane from Torstock into Flemington.
Okay. Yeah. What were your questions sort of at stages?
A question about where this is on the agenda. It's on page 164, just to confirm.
Yeah.
The recommendation.
Appendix B that we're going through, the recommendations in turn on Appendix B.
Thank you, sorry.
So page 143 is the start of Appendix B.
Thank you.
And you can see on that report it's broken down into a series of recommendations based on the proposals, and that's what we're showing on the screen. So again, if you need any clarification, just let us know. We can zoom in on that area to make it clear.
No, it's not the map, it's that's the maps are Appendix D, E and F.
But,
Yeah, oh no, yeah.
but to make it easier for you, the map
They're
are on your screen.
on the screen.
Yeah.
Can we blow them up?
Can we zoom
If it
in?
needs to, or-
Yeah, this is the current, yeah, as you're seeing now is the current parish boundaries, which is cutting right the way through the industrial estate. So it would be to follow that road, the A1 A3 one, yeah,
Yeah.
that road around from there.
The main landmark there probably
All the way up.
is Sainsbury's, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, and then so then Sainsbury's then would be from Toolstock and it follow through Old Biddyford Road to that top about Birch, following Birch Lane, or above Birch Lane, that footpath. And that then going from Toolstock into the around.
And will it scroll up? Sorry, I'm butting in. Will it scroll up a little bit further so we can see the top bit of the red line?
The current Framingham boundary, so, but that bit's not changing.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
It's
It's not
literally
changing.
just, yeah.
Yeah.
It's that
Thank
bit, but it's the part with it's Maple bit that would incorporate, so as Maple is now, then the Maple Wall Park would take in that extra.
So it's the bottom bit that's changed, the bottom half from Cedars downwards is the change in the line, isn't it?
Yeah.
And nothing beyond Cedars. That makes sense.
Well, I just put to the screen, Debbie, with that feed.
So it's round, you
Yeah.
put up your ward boundary.
I think I've got it.
Yeah.
So nothing beyond.
No,
there
it's
is
literally
the
just
change.
that little
Just
part
that
from
bit,
the
yeah.
red line over to that, the road that's going round. That part there would be then moving into the Maple.
That's in this proposal. There's other discussions about.
Yeah, which
Yes.
is around about,
further up.
it's approximately about 76 electors would it would be, and that would give you an idea of the numbers that it
Thank
would
you.
be. So, so the recommendation is to adopt all those three proposals. A1 and A2 to follow them.
And I mean, I think sort of the comments we received clearly support.
On those proposals, yes, it's going on from the following the draft, the consultation of the first round, consultations that we've looked at the end of these tests. And to follow the boundary line anyway, because it was when it was first done, it was went right the way through the actual industrial estate. And the number of electors that you're looking at from that one is there's part of there is no in the bottom that part,
There's no basis. No.
and then right at the bottom, quite so quick. No affected,
So how was Booth?
Could I just say that Lankey Parish Council had no objection to the redrawing of the boundaries that concern them.
Thank you.
Again, from Parish Council and Toolstock Parish Council actually talked to one another before we decided on this, which can be seen on the fact that we put in exactly the same suggestion.
it was the first one to do from that. Okay.
So any more questions on that element? No. Thank you.
Could I move that we vote on the proposals as we go,
That's
if that's okay?
is that okay? Well, I think that's what we were talking about, wasn't it? Yeah.
If that makes it
So
easier.
this is for. Let me try to lost. It's through this. We're proposing A1,
The proposals A1, A2
2,
and
and
three.
A3.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what we got comments?
Yeah, no, I'm on it. I'm looking at A4. I've got a comment on
Okay.
it.
Okay. So can I have a proposal to accept that? Councillor Rossi, Councillor Walker, second, all in favour? Everyone, thank you. Yes. That,
Proposal then for A4, and this is the boundary at Cheswood Avenue, should follow the main road up to Beechwood Avenue. I'll just wait for the mapping to catch up.
Plan from 3 wasn't included in our appendix.
These are all the bases of the old. So the proposal, so we haven't got, that was it, Fremen 3 was the old. So the proposal from that one to go up from Beechwood, Beechwood was it, Beechwood and around Cheswood.
the two councillors represent that area.
Yeah, I can't quite see in because we know, because it's our district wards,
Yes.
that the road is split. Helen's probably got a little bit more idea than me. Is that exact? Is there any change there at all or no?
I thought it moved slightly, wasn't it?
Yeah, there would be for that one, but the recommendation would be just to tidy up that boundary, because cutting through from that road itself would mean that neighbouring properties on either side of the road would be in different parishes. So although, because at the moment it's cutting right the way through gardens, if you like, so it would be a case of our recommendation would be just to tidy up that boundary line. So we wouldn't be looking at moving anybody from one parish to the next.
So to clarify, it's going around the garden boundaries.
It's a better line.
Yeah, just a better line. That's not
The
Fence
more of
boundary
the,
line,
the
isn't
boundary of the property.
I mean, the
yeah.
residents are so confused because, you know, one bit of it is in their parish, one is in their district. And I just, you know, I know that the people that live there are just, you know, who's our parish, who's our, you know, so I just wanted to really make that clear. So that's change the same.
Literally just going to be so you've got some people that look as if half their gardens in Barnstaple, half
That's
it's
it, yeah.
in
Yeah.
You're moving to the.
You're moving
like
it around. Yes, yes,
That's a
yeah.
really good idea.
Rather than down the middle of a street and separating,
Yeah, that's it.
separating one half.
You probably captured what we were actually trying to say a lot better than we were trying to. We actually wrote it down. So yeah. Can I? Happy with
So,
that
yeah,
one?
can we have a proposer?
Yeah.
Councillor Walker, seconder, Howard Booth, all in favour? Thank you. That's Debbie Chandler again.
So we're moving on to the next proposals then from Barnstaple Town Council, starting with proposal A5. There was 3 different options within this and really affecting Pilton West, the parish of Pilton West. So the 3 options were for the new developments of Sheerford Close and Train Heights that median border Barnstaple parish to move the boundary to bring these into Barnstaple. The second option was to move the boundary line to bring in the Pilton West parish land, east Bradford Water. And then the third option there was to absorb the whole of Pilton West. Now going through the consultation, there was strong opposition on this particular proposal. And that being, it was sometimes it was unclear whether some of the residents there were unhappy about, well, they were unhappy about moving all of Pilton West into Barnstaple. So we are proposing that we go out with some more options with relating just to Sheerford Close and Train Heights, because, you know, the feel of that maybe Sheerford could be more representative within Barnstaple, whereas Train Heights maybe Pilton West. But we propose 3 different options on this proposal. The first one being to leave both areas in Pilton West, move Sheerford Close from Pilton West to Barnstaple and leave Train Heights within Pilton West. Or the third option to move both areas into Barnstaple. To just put that out again to be a bit more clarification about. But the other options is and then leave the rest as it is with Pilton.
Can I just come in, Chair?
Yes.
I think with the consultations, and I looked at, you know, all of them, obviously before the meeting, it was very clear that the residents weren't happy about any of them, to be quite honest, especially in the Barnstaple area. So I think whatever we do, we've got to bear that in mind, that they have made their choices and they have, you know, taken part in the consultations. So, you know, to put it back out again and see sort of what the outcome may be, I think is the best thing, because they obviously weren't happy with what went out to them. So, you know, bearing in that in mind, that I think the residents must come first, and we need to, as a council, take on board what, you know, what they have said within that consultation. I think that's very important on all of the areas, that we take on board what the residents have said.
So planning to go with a slightly changed proposal there, smaller scale again, just to see what that second round of consultation is on the new proposals. Again, that will guide the next stage of proposals that come
I would
back.
say on all accounts, I think we just need to really take on board what the residents say.
Would that be to take in Train Heights and Sheerford?
It would, yeah, the options there would be to leave both areas with Pilton West, or move Sheerford Close from Pilton West and leave Train Heights, or to leave them both within Barnstaple. So all the other, within Bradford or Tilton West, we're not going back out with consultation there. It's just really concentrating on the residents that live in Sheerford Close and Train Heights as to how that they feel they, both represented.
Having Councillor Rutty, then Councillor Walker.
I can say that I agree with Councillor Can, but I do also disagree at the same time, because it's with the parish so close to Barnstaple, they are obviously using a lot of the services that the parish council are paying for. I think we also need to bear that in mind about the objective fairness of the residents and the rest of Barnstaple, and how they might feel about people using services they're not necessarily paying for, like the street marshals.
But what's been proposed is this has gone back out, and then,
Those three options.
and then you'd perhaps expect, you'd like to think,
We'll get more just as our feel was that it was all of, and maybe it was thinking that they were going to take all of Pilton West, which that was very, we could see that, from the electorate that they didn't want that. So yeah, I do appreciate that, but this was more to maybe just focus on the actual residents in those particular areas. And it could be again that they come back with exactly the same, that they want to, stay where they are. But it is really just to see how they feel with it and taking out the other options, because it was.
just to clarify, I think you'd like to think that the relevant town council would consult those residents if, But Councillor Walker, then Councillor Rutty again.
Yeah, no, I can see that there is a little bit effectively not an anomaly here, because you've got two fairly large new housing developments, which one would have thought were in Barnstaple, because they're right on the edge of Barnstaple, but they're not, because of where the boundary lies. Perhaps with hindsight, the boundary review should have been done, the government's review should have been done before those were granted planning permission. But it's what it is, and I suspect the answer will come back that they don't want to move into Barnstaple.
Well, that's for the process.
That's for the process to find out.
I say that will come back to your next or your March governance committee for that decision.
Councillor Rutty?
How are we going to make sure that we push for these two particular areas and not have an influx of people who don't live in the area perhaps commenting on it? And then also, how are we going to ask the questions? Because I think we should ask it in a way where we can actually gather less data about whether people want to move from this place into this place, and more data about identity, rather, so that we can actually make a bit more of an informed decision.
I know that with some county council surveys, consultations, you have to include a postcode in the response. Is that something that we could consider in the?
Yeah, so in the next
I wasn't
round,
sure.
in the next round, Chair, we will be going out to ask for addresses and postcodes and try to make sure we target those areas again.
Good.
Through our social media. We'll try and get the comms out, and we will try to work with the town and parish councils in those areas again, just to try and make sure that we do try and focus it in those areas and try to get as much feedback as we can.
Councillor Walker?
As it's such a small area, in the grand scheme of things, with the size of North Devon, would it be possible to actually, I know it's postage is expensive, but would it be actually possible to maybe leaflet the areas to say this community governance review is taking place, here's a QR code to look at it, so that we get more feedback?
Any bases involved?
The electorate for Sheerford Close is 75 and Train Heights is 123. That's the electorate, not.
So 200 people, but probably 130 houses.
We can certainly have those conversations, whether that's us or whether that would be better with the parish to do that. But we can certainly have those conversations.
It's 2 hours walk for someone.
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to pick up on what Councillor Rutty had said, that it seems there's a very imbalanced precept being paid across the whole of North Devon. And although the Barnstaple Town Council, along maybe with Ilfracombe, have put this proposal in, there are many people that use Barnstaple Town Centre or maybe Ilfracombe that are not within this boundary change, they come in from Instow, they come in from Paracombe, the whole of North Devon, maybe to use the facilities in Barnstaple, Ilfracombe, wherever. And yet there is such a big difference in what the precept has been set at in the different areas. So somebody living in the centre of town, it is extremely high compared to what the people are probably paying up at Hilton West. And I just think the whole thing needs a complete overall, that if, you know, it shouldn't be just a couple of parishes that are actually involved in this. I think it needs the whole thing, just want to put it on record, I think the whole thing probably needs re-looking at. It's not fair that somebody in Pilton West is paying £10 and somebody for the precept and £200 in the town. So I think that's why you've had a lot of objections.
Mr. Miles wants to talk, but it might be around the legal tests, I'm not sure. Mr. Miles?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I mean, Adam set out the tests at the outset, so it might be worth repeating that, but unfortunately, council tax and the levels that might be paid in parishes, etc., aren't really relevant. What's relevant is the identities and interests of the community. And can I just add as well, I mean, the issue about people using services in Barnstaple, I think you'll get that wherever, because Barnstaple is the sub-regional centre of North Devon, and wider than, you know, the North Devon area, it's Northern Devon. So you do have strategic facilities in Barnstaple that will be used by surrounding parishes, the leisure centre, theatres, etc. All of those facilities will be used by a much wider population than exists just within Barnstaple parish. So you'll have that all the time, I think. But the important point is it's not about the level of council tax, it's about the interests of the community and the identities of the community that need to be reflected in the community governance review.
Thank you, Miles. So just, if you want to refresh yourself, top of page one.
Yeah, no, I
That's
think
fine.
it's just a lot of
You start to
objections
say
have come from residents about the difference. A lot of those objections are about the, you know,
Thank you.
they're paying more.
So, proposer who is proposing is to go out to consultation with these three options. The officers will look at how we can target potentially the houses and consult with the relevant parish and town council. That's correct. Yeah. Proposer, Councillor Howard Booth, seconder, Councillor Can, all in favour? Thank you. Moving swiftly on.
Proposal A6 is for the boundary of the remaining land east of the A361, which is a north section from the Mount Sanford development.
Yes, as I said before, Lanky Parish Council have no objection to the boundary change. So I'd like to propose that we go ahead.
Could I just ask, this is getting absorbed into Barnstaple, just to clarify?
Yes,
Yes.
this is for
Yes.
Lanky, yes, on that one, because it's just the northern part from the Mount Sanford bit there.
This is the land, isn't it? I recall there's no houses on it at the moment.
There's no residential.
Could we zoom out a bit? Sorry. Is
Yeah.
Yeah, I know where we are now.
Is that okay?
It's the green section there, isn't it, that's going along the.
That part, yeah.
Where the
yeah,
mouse
right,
is.
just the mouse, the
Yeah.
top part from there,
Okay.
yeah.
So we've got a proposer from Councillor Hayworth Booth, seconder, or Councillor Quinn, all in favour? Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Moving on.
Okay, for proposal A7 then is to move the boundary from the A39 to the A3125 up to the junction at Oakley Avenue, and this to bring into the new developments an Old Horrington Road, Petrock College, and the existing around the old Biddyford Road. So that would be is to potentially taking in the Tourstock Northern and Tourstock Southern
Yeah.
wards of Tourstock to go into Barnstaple. There was very strong opposition to this proposals, and many really commenting on how they feel that they are best suited within Tourstock parish. So on that basis, we recommend not to adopt that proposal, to leave it as it's at.
Those not familiar, it's probably, if you think of the crematorium area of the town.
Yeah, just on that bit, yes, it would all of that particular area.
What the crematorium is on there, give a,
Yeah.
it's where I live. Any questions on that? It clearly was, I can't remember how many hundred, but there was clearly a lot of responses, clearly supportive of the parish. Clearly felt the identity, which is one of the measures, isn't it, would be lost as an very old parish. But I'll open for any comments you want to make. That's Rutty.
I don't really understand why the boundary of Barnstable even goes over the river if there's such a small part of Barnstable over the river and the rest of it's in other parishes. It just doesn't really make that much sense.
No, but that wasn't what the town didn't come back with that recommendation to.
Been like that for years.
Maybe Tourstock should put in a counter recommendation.
Well, yes. I'm not going to comment on that one, but they had the opportunity to do that, but not anyone did. So can I move to proposal then, if there's no other comments on this one? Councillor Walker, Councillor Hayward Booth, all in favour? Anyone abstaining? Oh,
I'm
abstaining, okay. Thank you. Okay. Moving on, thank you.
Moving on to the proposals then from A8. There were 5 different options within this proposals, but due to the proposal of A7 not recommended, we felt that all the other options fail. And again, there were very strong oppositions for all of these to, in each of these 5 options.
Can I make a comment on that? What I'm really pleased to say actually is that you have that any suggestions of cutting roads in half have been rejected. That is, it would seem intrinsically unfair if I was if I was in Barnstaple Town Council area and my neighbour across the road, which is one they would have done, would be in Fremington, when my estate has been considered part of Fremington Parish since it was built. And I think that the way that this review has been taken to not put boundaries down the middle of roads is very positive.
There are some boundaries that are currently in existence.
Yeah.
That have been changed at Devon Road.
Yeah.
To Bath Hill.
The new ones.
New ones, yes. It's very sensible. So we don't need to. All these options, so we're not, don't need to vote on that one. Thank you.
Proposal then B1, Tourstock Parish Council. At the moment, the Tourstock Parish is divided into 2 wards, Tourstock Northern, 2 wards of Tourstock Northern Urban, Tourstock Southern and Tourstock Rural. And the proposal is for the Tourstock Northern and Southern to be merged and renamed Tourstock Urban, but to keep Tourstock Rural.
It's one of the, apart from I think Fremington, is one that's got sort of, well, one that's got 3 or more zones or areas within the parish. So any comments?
So on this, there's strong opinion on this, and the proposal is to accept, to go ahead with it, to go from 3 wards back down to 2.
That's
The number of councillors being the same.
How many councillors would be in either of the wards?
How many, sorry?
Councillors
Says it's probably about
It's still be, but the merge, so it would be 5 and 4, yes.
Yeah,
It would be,
Oh, so that's.
There wouldn't be an additional,
Yeah, so they're just merging them.
They would be, they're not, it's not gaming or listening, it's just literally, it would be the main, same amount of councillors, it's split between the 2.
Any comments? Can we move on to proposal? I propose. Councillor Walker, thank you. Second, Councillor Hayworth Booth, all in favour? Thank you.
Proposal then, B2, is Ilfracombe Town Council, and they would like to return back to the 3 wards of Ilfracombe East, West and Central.
Was that David Chandler finished? Then
You carry on.
The proposal of that, based on recommended, the proposal to go in line with the old boundaries, so to revert back to the 3 wards of the parish, East, West and Central, and also how it's set out there within the ratio of the councillors, because the east part and the west part is also, there are a few extra developments happening in those particular areas. So we proposed of the 3 wards, based on the west ward to be 7 councillors, Central to be 7 councillors, and East going to 4 for 4 councillors. So basically, we're going back to how it was before when set the Ilfracombe East. So that will part of Ilfracombe East will now Central part would be taken back from the Ilfracombe East ward.
Mr. Quinn.
Thank you. Yes, I am part of the town council, Ilfracombe, and it was an idea that was put round, and some said we should go for the idea and see what happens with the consultation. So 1 or 2 weren't very keen on it. With quite a few I feel personally, I live in that would be the new Central ward. I can't see personally why we have to add another ward. East and West are pretty much fairly level to a degree. There is housing developments on both sides. Both sides will increase themselves. Statistics for having that other one, I don't think they really count. I really don't see why money should be spent at reorganising an extra ward and moving ward members to there and wherever. I think it works quite well. We talk of applying for funds for the town, but we apply as a town, not as a ward, really. It is a whole Ilfracombe apply. Personally, and I live there, I don't think it's right. I've seen on the thing there's about 18 replied, and 2 said no, 16 said yes, I think so, that's the figures. But it'd be interesting to go back and see if, I don't know what the process is, because I personally, I don't think it should happen.
Yeah. Well, go on. No questions, and Debbie Chandler can comment if need be. But I assume that this has gone through the town council and the majority have voted to submit this. So
I assume it has. I don't remember voting for it or against. I would have voted against. I think I've missed one town council.
Right.
So
thank you.
I am.
Yeah, thank you. Councillor Walker.
I would imagine that having 3 wards instead of 2 won't actually cost. There won't be a cost to the town council for that. It will just be that you're splitting your electorate, not anything else. It's not like you're going to have to have a fence around it that says this is Ilfracombe Central or any signage or anything like that. It's an exercise in sort of making the electorate more even, I think. Is that what it?
Well, there might be savings if a councillor resigns. You're having less people to.
Currently at the moment for Ilfracombe East, it's 11 councillors that are on that particular ward. So by splitting back the East and Central, then it's more. You're going back to 7, 7 and a 4 to represent from Ilfracombe. So yeah, you could make.
Councillor Bussey.
Can I, just to put this into a bit of perspective, other towns in other parts of the country of similar sizes that have a lot of wards, it is very confusing for residents to figure out which ward they're in, and who to contact and where they go on polling day, because it can just be 2 streets away for your regular polling station and then it just moves somewhere else. So I mean, I think we should take that into account when we're making a decision, because it could be just really confusing for a lot of people.
I mean, it may not even move. It just be a different number too. have you gone that far into analysis as far as if need to have a separate polling station?
Well, they do anyway. It wouldn't, you know, as it stands, it's still part of the central. That would still be a polling station there. So we wouldn't be looking at moving those probably electors how it would be. I don't know without looking at it, would have, you know, from a polling station. So I don't know if it would necessarily, off the top of my head, whether it would make, you know, would it change their polling arrangements by that natural split? I'd have to look at the polling district, put polling districts up there and to see, because it's the polling district itself that would, but because it was such a split, because I think it was prior in 2018-19 that it went from 3 to 2. So it's going back, and I can remember, but it was a nice split, if you like.
That's a Quinn.
With the point that Councillor Lawton raised about being confused of councillors, there's 18 of us, I think, 18? Yeah, 18 of us. And we've got 2 wards, east and west, and people now don't know which councillors are representing east and west, and they don't know whether they're in east or west, a lot of the public. They just ring the ones who have got faces and voices up.
You represent the town council.
Yeah, so I just think it would complicate a bit more things. It went for a reason in 18. I don't know why we should be bringing it back.
Any comments before I move on to, let's clarify, I mean, is there a major implication if we make these changes to the electoral team? There's a major workload, no, okay.
What would be the process now?
Well, I know, I think so. Is there a mover for this recommendation?
Yeah, I'll move it.
Okay, is there a seconder? Yeah, thank you. So we've got 2 proposing the recommendations to make the changes. So we've got pros and all those in favour. So it's moved. Thank you. And against or abstain? Against?
I'll have to abstain.
I'm abstaining as well.
To abstain. Thank you. Thank you for comments. All relevant. Thank you.
B3, Fremantle Parish Council. This was to rename some of its wards within Fremantle Parish Council, and also the number of councillors that it represents. So the ward names they wanted from Anchorwood to revert to Woodville, Roundswell and Woodville should be Roundswell, and incorporate that new bit of Maple and that new bit of Birch Lane. And Bickington, Fremantle and Yelland should remain unchanged. The number of councillors for in Fremantle and Yelland should remain unchanged at 6. Bickington to have 4, Woodville 2, and then Roundswell for 3 councillors. And our recommendations based on the recommendation is to adopt proposals. So for the ward names, Fremantle, Anchorwood, Fremantle, Woodville, Fremantle, Roundswell, and Woodville be renamed Fremantle, Roundswell, incorporate that new bit of Maple. And the number of councillors, though, we have put the suggested the number of councillors in Fremantle remain unchanged at 6. Fremantle, Bickington remain changed at 6, but Fremantle Woodville for 2 councillors and Roundswell to have the 1 councillor. One councillor, and the bases on are the based on the bottom bit. That one is we've done it on from the ratio because they'll be more evenly split in those ratios that we've done.
Yeah, but this is obviously comes what what was proposed by Fremantle Parish obviously got changed in translation. We have a major issue with naming in our area. We have a district ward that's called Roundswell that doesn't have any Roundswell in it.
Yeah.
The parish ward of Roundswell will still not have any of Roundswell in it. Because the original idea was that Roundswell itself, which is not in Roundswell ward or Roundswell district ward, would be a ward in its own right, and that didn't come through in the consultation. But I would like to say that the residents of Woodville will be most grateful to be Woodville again, and the residents who
Real estate.
the residents of who are in the area that is now called Woodville haven't got a clue why it's called Woodville. So I think that makes very great sense, and I'd like to propose that.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
I can understand that. Any comments?
Just second.
So proposed by councillor Walker, seconded by councillor Howard. All in favour? Thank you. Thank you. Moving on.
The B4 of Barnstaple Town Council wanted to change the number of councillors within their ward, and also not to have a single ward member for the parish. So the proposal that we've done for this is taken on board. So they wanted to reduce from 7 wards to 6 wards. So the recommendation of the 6 wards I'd like to put forward is the Barnstaple Newport, which includes the current Newport ward, plus the Barnstaple Victoria ward. So, which is above that north piece of land in that too, so that will incorporate that, and also that part that will move in from Mount Sanford in those areas there. So that then would all now represent Barnstaple Newport. Central, we wouldn't make any changes to the central ward, so it would leave that one as it is. Barnstaple Pilton. So we'll be looking at one half of the current Barnstaple Pilton Union Valley ward, West Pilton Causeway and North Road. Barnstaple Union Valley, in one half of the current Barnstaple Pilton Union Valley ward, east of Pilton Causeway and North Road, to include the current Barnstaple Fort Hill Part 1 and Part 3, and also but to lose that little bit at the bottom of the south of Bear Street, which is the Eberley Lawn. Barnstaple Forches and Westercourt include the current Barnstaple Forches ward and Barnstaple Fort Hill wards Part 2 and 4, and to also include that bit that was that Eberley Lawn. And Barnstaple Longbridge as it currently stands, so not to change the boundary within the actual, and then the number of councillors. Again, we've done it as proportion when we worked out, so they're more evenly representative. Barnstaple Newport, 5 councillors. Barnstaple Central for 3. Barnstaple Pilton, 4. Barnstaple Yeo Valley, 5. Barnstaple Forches and Westercourt, 6. And Barnstaple Longbridge to go to 2. Bit on the basis that it was going to include that bit where the old leisure centre was, that new residential development. So we will be reducing down the wards from 76, and there will be no single ward.
But still, there is
ward.
25 councillors which they've had for it.
So it would still be
25, I think it's 25 they have.
well, no, they would increase, increase the
Oh, wow, okay.
for the Longbridge, by increasing.
Could I I'll make a motion that we accept these recommendations separately, or we vote on them separately, please?
What, for each ward?
Yeah.
I don't see the.
Do you want to let's talk through? your
So
thinking?
obviously, the district boundary on Fort Hill with the Forches ward makes the Barnstaple Westcott ward, and I don't see the reason to change when at the moment it is quite nicely tidied around the district boundary.
Clarify before. This won't come in until 2027.
Anyway.
Well, I just in case that's what you're thinking, it won't come in till it might be a year overlap, but it won't come in until the next.
By the time we won't be thinking
I
about.
thought I'd try and focus you on that. Is that? Do you want to withdraw?
Yeah, I would
Thank
like
you.
to draw my objection. Can I still make a comment though, Chair?
Please.
As somebody who lives in the Victoria ward, I didn't know that I didn't live in Newport until I got told by Councillor Lever that I didn't live in Newport. So I would say that everyone there thinks they live in Newport and doesn't really understand why they don't live in Newport on the town council.
Cam.
Can I just say, this is obviously proposed, and Barnstaple Town Council are quite happy.
They were proposed it, I think.
Were they on this? Because, you know, they know their wards, and you know, if they're in agreement and these are their proposals, and we're just rubber stamping it, then I don't see any reason why we would not.
It is slightly different to what they proposed, some of the actual boundary lines they did. Apart only from Pilton, wasn't it? That's a bit separate. And also the Long Bridge as well. So it's slightly, but we just bases on looking how it would best fit within the wards to split it.
Yeah, Councillor Bratty.
If the recommendations, if the consultation comes back from the Pilton West part of the discussion, and that's obviously absorbed into Barnstaple, how would that affect the sort of distribution of councillors?
Wouldn't be enough to.
Would it be enough to sort of tip one from one and into another? No.
If you're only going to add an electorate of 260 odd onto it,
Good question, though. Good question.
it probably would end up within Barnstaple Hilton.
And also some of the reason why we not necessarily went with the proposals that put through for Barnstaple is because their basis of changing it was taking on some of the other bits which went into other Fremantle. So on that basis, their Long Bridge was going over at cost, and so that's what we looked at it, but it's not majorly different.
No.
Because I know they wanted to, you know, incorporate that bit around Gorrel and Derby Road, so we have taken that all on board.
Okay.
It's not major differences.
I have a proposer. Councillor Rossi, seconder, Councillor Hayward Booth, all in favour? Great, thank you. Getting there.
B5 North Malton Parish Council, they currently have 11 councillors, and they wanted to go for an additional one. On the basis that we've looked at it and that their actual, the current electorate, based on the ratio, they are on the high end of the recommendation of the limit. So we don't, you know, feel that the recommendation is to adopt this proposal basis, and I think they have enough, you know, representation for the electorate.
And I think the report said that there's not been.
And also for
over the years
over
elections.
the years for elections, they haven't had actually an election contested for many years, since 1999 there.
Suppose that we accept that recommendation.
Walker, Councillor Hayward Booth, all in favour? Thank you. Next. Okay.
Thank you, Chair. That is Appendix B that we've gone through now.
Appendix B, yeah.
Been agreed in full, and you'll note on your agenda, also under the recommendations in section 2, they've agreed Appendix B with plans to go back out with Appendix D, which is recommendations you've just supported for that second round of consultation with the plans in Appendix D to F. Again, if we could just take that, chair that.
So. I was just going to introduce Councillor Top, so welcome, Councillor.
Sorry, thanks.
No, that's right, well, Top, so. Welcome to the committee again. You were here 2.5 years ago, I think you were here last year, thank you. So, Mr. Tate, sorry, I was distracted, please.
Yeah, so you'll see the recommendations on your report section 2 were to agree Appendix B, which we've just gone through and done. As a result of that, we can now go on and approve Appendix C, which is the next round of consultation based on the recommendations you've just supported, and the plans to go with that are on in Appendix D to F. So again, we just need the committee to approve that you're happy for us to go out with those.
Councillor Walker.
Can I back the officer's recommendation to go out to second stage consultation with the proviso that we try and engage not just for online, but we do a little bit more offline engagement with the residents potentially affected by these changes.
I think that, is that something you can talk of? Or is it more that we pass, request the parishes to engage? How do you feel?
In some ways, the parishes are best placed to do that engagement. What we can do is liaise with them and
Yeah,
check
no,
what's happening.
That's one of the huge things that we had was that we didn't know about this until the last minute.
Yeah. Okay.
We have got a nice new customer service centre in the middle of Green Lanes, which we could put a little poster up or something.
Yeah.
We could.
The consultations are there. I think we're having an engagement morning. Debbie.
Yeah, we're doing, going down there on one morning. I think it's booked in, and also something in the library, I think, on another day that's happening. So we are going to be present on those days.
Yeah, another video of me standing.
Can I just say, there was different paperwork that was given out to fill in sort of, paper copies, different set of paperwork that was going out from the hub than what we were giving out from the parish. And residents were getting really confused. So a couple were given out. So we must, whatever consultations, we must make it equal across the board and not, as Councillor Walker said, just rely on online because people don't do it.
To clarify, oh, sorry.
Yeah, but it must be the same.
One form came out from the council.
That's not.
Parishes may have done something different, do you think?
It was taken from the proposals that were given to it. I don't know what happened, but then
But it did, didn't it?
definitely we were
Yeah.
shown a different form from the one that had been sent to parish. So it's just.
Email me. I can clarify.
Well,
You email me.
Yeah.
In a sense, Appendix C is now the clean version that will be going out, so that we can agree that tonight.
Yes, I'm happy.
So can I have a proposer? Councillor Walker, seconder, Booth. Those in favour? Thank you. All in favour? Thank you.
Just so that-
Okay, thank you. How far do we move it down to? Down to.
You might need to leave it.
I've got a big red one.
Can I
Yeah.
take your agreement? Thank you. Electoral team, thank you. Can I propose we move item 8 then to after item 14? Have we got some external members here? Can I have a proposal, please? Councillor Hayward, Booth, all in favour? Thank you. Elsie, are you in favour?
Yeah.
Thank you. On to your finger moves. Thank you. Okay, so we're moving on to item 9. Is that all right? On here.
Yes.
The annual review of committee effectiveness, pages 199 to 210. Before I pass over to our staff representative, appreciate there is no 1, 2, 3 new members that were involved. Let's give you a feel of that. Okay, so can I pass on to Karen, isn't it? Everyone knows. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, members. My name is Darren Roberts. I am the assurance manager at the Devon Assurance Partnership, representing the Devon districts here at North, Torridge and Mid Devon as well. 2 reports to present tonight. First of all, the report of the annual position statement from the Governance Committee. This is an annual self-assessment that's undertaken to assess the committee's function, purpose, membership effectiveness in accordance with CIPFA best practice that was actually published in 2022. Excuse me, the facilitation of the workshop is undertaken by DAP, but the actual workshop itself is a self-assessment and doesn't involve any officers themselves. So the purpose today is to present the members with the findings of the self-assessment of the works of the audit committee. In summary, if we move on down to the report itself, the report is on the basis of 4 areas covered: the committee's purpose and governance, functions of the committee, membership and support, and effectiveness of the committee. Pleased to report that 3 of those areas, the internal audit rating has come back as substantial, with membership and support coming back as reasonable. And from that, there were 2 areas of observations, implications, recommendations and actions. One is a low priority around the committee's effectiveness and how that can be done as a more structured process. And secondly, how the committee would benefit from a rolling programme of training areas or topics going forward. The recommendations have been made. Today is for the committee to go ahead and go forward with those recommendations, and the response that needs to be made needs to come from the committee itself. Obviously, all DAP have facilitated the workshop and have drafted the report for you. So over to you, Chair.
Thank you. So for our returning member and for another long-term member, Councillor Walker, this was used to be a survey used to fill in or not fill in. That was the case of some people in the past. I think it wasn't very good. Certainly here, anyway. But I think I went on sort of a one-day conference with DAP and met some other sort of chairs, and I thought sort of it would be quite good to have a different approach. Same sort of questions. So I asked the officers, and they engaged with DAP to come in and facilitate. And we've got this where we are with this report. So what's a couple of actions on there? I think very much about. I was already discussing about producing a more, perhaps an enhanced annual report about our effectiveness, and that also that was sort of came out of also with the peer. The first, was it peer review report or the the first stage of peer review came out that they recommended that 3 council committees produced reports, and that was S&R, policy as it was, no policy and scrutiny, and this committee. So we have for years produced a report, but it's very much just a summary of what we've done. So I'm proposing, with input from yourselves, to produce a report that goes to the full council in April, whatever it is in April. So as contents of this report will go forward, I think we should be very pleased, officers and members, that we've been doing a wonderful job. And the other recommendation which sort of came out of the working group really was sort of, it's been mentioned at various groups that I attend, at sort of Southwest Audit Group and the Devon Assurance Partnership Group, that sort of the skills of councillors. You know, we can't pick a councillor that always has got an audit background or a finance background. We are elected, this committee. We should be led by our officers, but there could be a shortage in knowledge that we could pick up through some training. So proposing to look at perhaps a skills matrix, and what I'm proposing is sort of have perhaps an online, we'll come back to you after I've discussed it with Adam Tate, a workshop talking about what skills we think we need, if there's someone that can facilitate a skills matrix of what we've got, skills, and take it forward. I mean, currently there's options. We have the basics, the audit, we have audit training, financial training, and this is risk management training. There was an opportunity to comment on other training needed through the annual survey by the Triggs. Triggs sends out the survey, doesn't she, on behalf of central team, about sort of any improvements we can make. So that's the 2 areas for improvement. So I'm proposing to have a workshop of some kind, take that forward. So any comments on the report? I think overall that if that's Ofsted, it will be outstanding or very good anyway. But I think overall we should be pleased with what we've achieved. We've got our intendant member online. I'm not sure if you've never got any comments. No.
No, my only comment was going to be it's a shame it took so long to get through to us because, like you acknowledged right at the beginning, there's a lot of turnover in the group. But it was encouraging that it was the same findings as the peer review made as well. So, yeah.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. So that's what I'm proposing. I'm not sure. Any comments in the group? Yeah. So I'm not sure the timescales. I'd like to get something in place. At least that sort of the action plan to go into a final report. The idea was that rather than having this annual review, perhaps this year would be the well, what done as the annual review. Next year is where we implement the changes, and then every 2 years we have this process. We've only got 2 actions, but you know it could have been a dozen actions. So that's what I was proposing, and that seems to be what other councils are looking at.
Would like to say something.
Independent member.
I was just going to say, obviously this is what I do for a job anyway, so I'm
Yes.
happy to work with you to identify what training needs that there are and what there is available to fill those gaps.
Thank you very much indeed. Is that right? I'll discuss with you. Okay, I don't need to agree this, just to note it, is that fine? Need to note it.
Recommendations on page 199.
Oh, it's left side, 109, recommendation, not the report, nothing. Okay. So we have filled in the action outline. So can I have a proposer for the 2 recommendations, please? Do you want to read them out to you, or are you okay? That's what to you. I won't be reading it, so I won't jump. So can I have a proposer? Councillor Walker, seconder again, Howard Booth. Seems to be all in favour. Thank you. Lovely. Thank you for that. Thank you to DAP colleagues for completing this and giving us a glowing report. Moving on to item 10, I believe again, is that right? Back to DAP again.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Back to normal business for us. So the internal audit progress report 25-26. This is our second progress report for internal audit activity for 25-26, and it provides the update on work that we performed since the last audit committee and stuff that's currently in train at the moment. So it includes all of our planned audit coverage and areas that have been delivered with either a draft or a final report associated with it. Page 3 of our report refers to our overall opinion statement. Currently, there's no opinion at the moment to form. This is again due to the part of the financial year which we are currently sat in, and we're expecting to do work and report on the key financial systems. That's going to be expected then for the rest of Q3 and into Q4. The opinion for that then will be built on as the work progresses. And just for a reminder to members that the 24-25 overall opinion was actually formed as reasonable. So going forward to the specifics, that is on page 5 of our report under the summary assurance opinion, sets out the opinions for audits progress since September. One of those has resulted in the finalisation of the Treasury Management Audit, and we're pleased to report that that has resulted in substantial assurance, which I think is not just reassuring for the authority, but reassuring, of course, members of the public, given the funds that are managed through that service. We're also near to reporting for both the crematorium and for member security. Indeed, member security should be either later this week or early next week. And the focus for work going forward will be around our key financials. So that's going to be payroll, debtors, creditors, and main accounting system. However, I had mentioned last time that we were revising work programs for these to make them more focused around a single risk, and these are actually allowing for more target testing around the single risk. And certainly when we've rolled these out in the other districts, they've come across extremely favourable. As usual, this is not work that we do in isolation. We work closely with the governance manager as to the operational delivery of the plan. And indeed, in the forthcoming months, as we enter the planning rounds for internal audit, which we then part of 26-27, which is obviously what we'd probably be looking at reporting when we have the next governance committee in January, I believe. Yes, it will be. That's all from me, Chair. Happy to take questions.
Any comments? What are you thinking? Can I pass our thanks on to Adam Tate and team? It was a really good audit. Thank you. Thank you for that. Or I'm not sure if you did the audit or ever did it. Thank you. Any comments? No. No, does it? Can I have a closer? Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I don't think you can see very well.
Sorry, no. I rely on my sidekick here. Something.
Can I go last? If anyone else has got any questions in the room, I'd be interested to know what they are, and then I'll ask mine at the end.
No comments here. No?
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought that was a question.
We got one. So
One small comment.
Councillor Walker.
I'd be very interested to see what the crematorium comes out. Being on the crematorium committee.
Councillor Walker's chair is the.
Yeah, I'm chair of the crematorium committee, and there were some things that came out at the last meeting that we weren't really expecting. So it will be interesting to see what the Assurance Partnership thinks of the way forward that has been suggested.
Sure. Just to let you know, we're in the process of winding up the field work for that one, so the report will be coming out certainly easily for the next audit committee.
Intended member.
It was raised in the peer review that the audit plan didn't link to the corporate priorities. I just wondered if any work was going to take place in updating the plan, or if there was just going to be just an update to members just to show where all these audits originated from.
So we're partway through the year now. Also, the structure's changed, I noticed as well, because it's based around the senior management team, isn't it? This or heads of services.
Yeah, I mean, we're soon going to be starting our sort of planning programme for the next audit review. And we will be picking up the comments of the peer review and feeding that in. So again, when that report comes back to you, we can make that link clear in that report so that everybody can clearly see the link between the audit plan and the corporate priorities.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Can I have it? Do I have a proposer? Oh, goodness me. Kerridge Booth and seconder, Councillor Roxy. Thank you. Can I propose a 3-minute comfort break before we get on to the really exciting and lengthy? Thank you.
Oh, do we have to vote? Definitely proposing.
Seconder. Okay, all in favour. Moving on to item 11, isn't it? Draft statement of accounts 2024-25. 3225 2324. And I've read it all.
Thank you, Chair.
I don't recall anything.
So I'm here to present the draft statement of account for 24-25 to enable them to be reviewed by this committee and a recommendation to go to full council for approval and to be formally signed and adopted. The statement of accounts starts on page 227 of your pack. It's a long document and my aim is to summarise the key facts and points. The statutory backstop for all statement of accounts to be signed off for the 24-25 accounts is the 27th of February 2026. We are aiming for formal sign off at full council on the 19th of November. The external audit of the accounts was carried out by Bishop Fleming. The majority of the audit of the financial statements took place through August and September. There are a couple of areas still to be finalised. The audit completion report is later on its agenda, where you'll hear further detail from Bishop Fleming. The narrative report on pages 228 to 237 sets out the challenges we face and how we aim to meet these challenges. And it also reviews the last financial year 24-25. The Council recognises that the impact of the world economic conditions has had on public finances and will continue well beyond the 24-25 accounts, and the effect is of the high inflation is embedded into those figures. The review of the 24-25 position starts on page 231. The Q3 position reported a forecast net surplus of £9,000. Net favourable variances seen in the last quarter, most notably additional business rate income, meant the final outturn position achieved a net budget surplus of £322,000. The table on page is 232 detail the main variances. The options for the 322,000 surplus was to commit the following amounts to earmark reserves. Repair fund reserve 140,000. This bolster funds for capital bids approved through the quarterly reports throughout the year. Strategic contingency reserve £100,000, and this was funded for the street marshal schemes. And the budget management reserve, and this replenishes the reserve by 82,000 and helps mitigate the annual contribution to the base budget. Green Lane Shopping Centre, members approved in June 21 to proceed with the acquisition of Green Lane Shopping Centre, which the council completed the purchase in November 21. Purchase of Green Lane Shopping Centre was a once in a lifetime opportunity to acquire the strategic asset and complement other significant regeneration improvements being delivered within the Barnstaple Town Centre through the Future High Street project. Financial outturn for the centre produced a net return, which is the income less costs, for 21-22 of 243,600, 22-23 296,000, 23-24 237, although this did include 150,000 from the income volatility reserve, and 24-25 106,000. This is still producing a positive return for the council and is in line with our original forecasting. Moving on to North Devon Council earmark reserves at the 31st of March 25. The general fund balance was 1.238 million, shown in the movement and reserve statement on page 248. The movement in the earmark reserves is also shown here with the year-end balance of 8.18 million. The detail of these can be seen in note 11 on pages 284 to 286. These balances leave the council in a strong position to deal with the risks and challenges it faces moving into 25 to 26 and beyond. The medium-term financial strategy shown is refreshed annually and will come back again in February 26 as part of the budget and council tax setting process 26-27. The medium-term financial strategy table shows a balanced budget for 25-26 with a 1.558 million gap for 26-27, moving to a gap of 4.161 million by 2030-31. This is in the table on page 230. I'd now like to run through the key elements of the main statements. The main statements on pages 246 to 252. The comprehensive income and expenditure statement on page 246 includes a number of non-cash accounting entries that are reversed out so they don't impact the council taxpayer. These are reversed through the movement in reserve statement with a total net reversal of 4.526 million. The end result is no movement in the general fund balance of 1.238 million. Details can be seen in the movement reserves statement on page 248, showing that the usable reserves are 10.9 million, the unusable reserves 119 million, and there's a breakdown of this in note 27 on page 196, giving a total net worth of 130 million, and this agrees to the balance sheet figure on page 249. Continuing with the balance sheet, the net assets are totaling 130 million, being a 5 million increase in 23-24 financial year. Main movements can be summarised as follows. Long-term assets, 80 million increase to 161 million. Note 15 on page 287 shows further details in relation to the property, plant and equipment. The main movements include additions, enhancements of 16 million relating to temporary accommodation, future high street fund spend, and finance lease vehicle spend, amongst others. There's also debt revaluation increases of 3 million and depreciation of 3 million. Long-term liabilities, these increased by 8 million. Main movement being the increase in long-term borrowing of 6 million and the finance lease liability increasing by 3 million. The pension fund liability, the next liability decreased by 600,000 due to various small changes in assumptions relating to the discount rate, pension increase assumptions and salary increase assumptions. Further analysis in the pension note 42 on pages 309 315 gives more detailed information. The fund history for the pensions for the last 6 years is in the table on page 313. It shows a net liability moving from 56 million, reducing to 8 million for 24-25. This pensions deficit is offset by the same balance in the unusable reserve in note 27 on page 296. The pensions deficit will be made good by increasing contributions over the remaining working life of employees as assessed by the actuary every 3 years. They call this a triennial review. The next review is due now, November 25, for the 26-27 year onwards. And early indications that the net liability will be mitigated by the increase expected in the asset values, and a consequence will reduce the employer's contributions to 26-27 onwards, with details for this to be confirmed. The cash flow statement is on 250. This details how North Devon Council generates and uses its cash and cash equivalents. The collection fund details can be found in pages 252 and 251 and 252. As NDC is the billing authority and collects all the monies, it accounts for council tax and business rate income, and is how it's shared between the major precepting authorities and central government. Accounting policy is on pages 253 to 272. This section details the rules and concepts in preparing the accounts. The only significant change to 24-25 accounts was the adoption of IFRS 16. New accounting standard requires that the rights to use items acquired under leases are recognised as assets on the balance sheet, together with a liability for payments to be made for the acquisition. Notes to the accounts then follow on pages 273 to 322. These provide further analysis of figures contained in the main statements already talked through. The draft auditors report, this is later on the agenda, and when finalised, the opinion will be added to the statement of accounts and presented to full council for approval. This moves on to the recommendations in 2.1 on page 225 of the report, that statement of accounts for 24-25 be reviewed and a recommendation to full council for approval. And I thank members for listening, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Councillor Rossi.
If we're running a surplus, does that mean we're not recommending that in the next financial year we're putting up council tax at all?
What surplus you
So we've obviously got budget surplus that you explained.
in terms of 24-25 accounts, we had 322,000, which was the extra money we had over and above what we budgeted for. At the end of that year, we put that money into reserve. And then we review the accounts all the way through this year, do all the revenue monitoring, and then as part of the budget setting process, we need to put forward a balanced budget to full council in February for approval.
So we will have to put up council. What I'm hearing is we won't have to put up council because
There are many changes.
Yeah, please, yeah.
Yeah, there are many changes through the fair funding review and 3-year settlement that are going to come forward, a lot of which the detail isn't known. We should get the final settlement by Christmas. Once we get that final settlement, we'll then be able to compare that to how all our cost pressures within the council are for this year and what we think they are going to be for next year. And then we'll balance that with what we think the council tax needs to go up by to get that balanced budget position.
Thank you. All relevant, but maybe not as much for this committee. Councillor Walker might be covering what I'm just going to cover. Councillor Walker.
Yeah, the 342,000 surplus does not come from council tax. It will come from our other
Incomes.
yeah, so it'll be not that they are actually listed out with where the
What are the other cases?
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's listed out where we've made savings, which it's not from council tax money that we've made savings, it's from other areas. So it'll be, we've got a bit extra from Green Lanes was budgeted, that sort
So
of
it's
thing.
not reliable.
It's not reliable,
Okay.
no. It's very, very volatile actually, because 1 year you might have surplus in car parks, next year you might have a huge loss in car parks, or a less of a surplus than you've it's not a loss, it's less than you've budgeted for.
Thank
It's not
you.
time we're looking back.
Yeah.
There will be various meetings coming up to look forward and to look forward to it about sort of the shortfall that may be for next year. Yeah.
Please could come along to the meeting, it does make it a lot easier to
Okay.
make decisions
So
as a whole.
our officers are more than happy to meet separately, I'm sure, to discuss budget with up training, but this is looking lateral.
Yes, to clarify, it's just if I was a member of the public watching this, I would have the same sort of thoughts.
Yes, that's fine. Yeah, no, it's fine.
Sounds like a lot of money.
Councillor Tops.
Thanks, Chair. Sorry, this is probably something I'd be aware of if I'd been on the committee prior, but it's just about a question about page 230, the fact that we're forecasting our budget gap or surplus up to the year 2030-31. But I just wondered about that with local government reorganisation obviously imminently on the horizon prior to those dates.
It's not a surplus.
No, it's a budget gap, isn't it? But
Yes, sorry, yes, yeah. Quite substantial in the next few years.
yeah, and then there's a forecast for that, and obviously worst case.
Just very briefly, if you could.
Yeah, and these figures, I mean, this was nearly a year ago now.
Yeah.
And there's been some significant changes in a lot of the assumptions. I mentioned the pensions element as well. So obviously all that will feed into the overall model, and actually when the figures come back,
Yeah.
they will look quite significantly different.
So those forecasts are based on this council continuing into 2030-31, which evidently isn't going to be happening.
8 months ago. This
Yes, based on longer. So my question is how, what happens with that? Are we just making these forecasts and obviously beyond a certain point, they're not going to bear any relevance because we're going to be part of a different organisation?
Clever. So,
Okay.
and please.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. It is a good question. You're absolutely right, because if local government reorganisation goes through, which we're anticipating it will happen, a new authority will be in being from May 28. So you're absolutely right. From that point onwards, it'll be for that new authority to set its budget, to set its medium-term financial strategy, etc. But these figures are still relevant because they're being used now to base the financial case for the various proposals that are going forward for local government reorganisation. So in Devon as a whole, there's likely to be 5 proposals going through to government, and each of those proposals will look at the medium-term financial strategies of all of the authorities in Devon and do some financial modelling based on that to come up with the anticipated savings, the transition costs, etc., to make sure that the new authority is financially viable. So they are relevant, but you're absolutely right. They will change once the new authority is in place. But as Tony said, these were relevant at the time they were drawn up. The funding landscape is changing already, so they will be revised.
Thank you. As a follow-up to that, then, relatively, in theory, relatively soon, we're going to know what the next organisation is going to be, what council is going to be around here. At what point are we able to kind of look at this situation and then so think, when we don't need to try and plug a budget gap of 4.161 million in, what's that, 4 or 5 years time? Do we need to, at what point do we completely redo this? And, I guess it comes to council in full council for budget, doesn't it?
And do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, we'll be setting budgets right up until we are disbanded effectively. From April 27, there'll be a shadow authority in place, which will be the new authority, but sitting in the background while the existing authorities continue. But we'll still be setting a budget and expected to meet that budget. The medium-term financial strategy will be continually updated up to that point, and so we can't say at this stage whether in 27-28 we'll still have a budget gap of 2.8 million. Chances are we won't. But it will be updated right up until April 28 when we will get subsumed into whatever new authority is in place. And we'll find out when that we'll find out the model for that new authority roughly August next year. But there might be some slippage with that, I guess.
Okay. Thank you. Lots to think through.
Yeah.
The officers have got a lot to do. Okay, so any comments on this? This has gone already, the draft it missed us last few months ago because of the timescale, didn't it? We agreed it would go straight to full council. It's probably been to SNR and it's been to the old policy committee.
In terms of the statement of accounts, Chair, it's actually due to go to council.
No, I meant the draft, this draft. This draft accounts went.
It wouldn't have gone to SNR or
Didn't it? Okay, sorry. Councillor Lottie.
Can I just ask, where specifically in the agenda is the operating cost versus the revenue for buildings that we own, such as like the Pannier Market and theatres.
All the income for those will be included in the comprehensive I&E.
Is it not broken down by venue?
On page 246, you've got a breakdown of sit within the
I've just lost.
place property and regeneration section. That's where most of our properties will sit
Okay, I just
within
lost-
that line. And obviously that's a very high level
Yeah.
line. And obviously there's a lot of detail below that, making up those figures.
So the recommendations are to recommend the draft statement of accounts 2024-25 to be reviewed and recommend to the full council for approval.
Can I just make a comment? Sorry.
Please.
I'm a bit invisible over here. It's just an observation, but on page 303, we talk about external audit costs of being 198,000.
Yeah.
But when you compare that to their letter, they say it's 161,000. I don't need a reason or anything. It was more I just noticed it and didn't know if there was something I've missed.
What page? Which page was it?
303
Yeah.
is external audit costs 198,000. And then when you look at agenda item 12 at the end of the external auditors report, they talk about how their fees are 161,000 for 24-25.
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
The main difference of that is the fee payable in relation to the housing benefit audit. And they are done by, I believe that's all done by Grant Thornton.
Okay.
So that's the 28. So what's the other part of it, or is it?
Probably have to have a
Yeah, we'll come.
Okay,
we'll
thank you.
come back to us. Can you circulate it to all the members? Is that okay? Thank you. Any questions? It's as clear as it can be, I think. You know, and there's a lot of commentary there, a lot of data. So can I have a proposer, please? Councillor Tops, seconder Jotty, and all in favour, please. Jotty, sorry. Oh, thank you. Good. Now moving across to Bishop Fleming and Charlie Martin, is it? For item number 12, which is, are you can do 12 and 13 together?
I'm doing together. Yeah, I'll pause after 12.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, good evening, everybody. So Charlie Martin and Bishop Fleming are the key audit partner. So yeah, just building on Tony's summary of the accounts, what we've got with the first item is our auditor's completion report. So this is a report we are required to produce to summarise, I guess, the outcome of the audit of the statement of accounts. It's a document which includes a number of required items, but in short, it's pleased to say we're at a point now where we've completed the majority of our work. We did set out at the time of writing it a couple of matters that were ongoing, but most of those, I'm pleased to say, have now been resolved. Subject, to the final points being resolved, we'll be proposing to issue an unqualified opinion on the accounts. I just wanted to put on record our thanks to John, to Tony, and the rest of the finance team for all their help with the audit this year. You see that reflected in the feedback we give on the process. We do a RAG rating of sort of red, amber, green as to how the process has gone, and from our perspective, we feel like it's gone really well. And I guess just wanted to make sure that was reflected, because it's not actually something you see very common in terms of having that full green across the board. And so I guess it just reflects the good partnership and the good process that is in place here at North Devon. Audit generally has been pretty clean, I'm pleased to say. It's progressed pretty well. We will update this report when we come to sign off the accounts properly. So those matters that were ongoing, like I mentioned, those will be sort of cleared, and that will be done when we sign off the opinion. But I guess during the course of our work, really what we focused on are the new accounting standard that Tony mentioned, the one about leases, so IFRS 16. That has been a new area, so we're comfortable with the assessment that management undertook to understand the changes that they affected the council and how those adjustments have been made into the accounts. One aspect we did note during the course of the audit was related to assets held for sale. So you see that reflected in the body of our work. There was a point about an asset held for sale for about £1 million from last year. There's no impact overall, but it's just how that's then flowed through the accounts. We just needed to make an adjustment for that, and that's been reflected in the comfortable how that's been resolved. Otherwise, then we have some recommendations at the back of our report, or observations. Pleased to say we've got no new ones this year, but there are two which we continue to follow up. So one relates to sort of access rights, which you can see we've got responses from management, and we understand their reasons, but I guess it wouldn't be remiss of us to make that observation. And then the second one applies about retention of ID rights, or identification. And again, we've got a comment from management there, so we're comfortable with that response. The last bit we've got there is the representation letter. So this is the document that is signed by officers when the accounts are signed, and it's very much standard, consistent wording with last year. So there's no sort of items I need to flag to your attention. It's very much consistent with the letter that was signed last year. I'll pause there, Chair.
Thank you.
Happy to take any questions about the report.
It's a clean report and a credit. Well, thanks for auditors, and again, thanks for our internal team. A lot of work. Perhaps a question to the auditor and to our finance manager. Perhaps one lesson learned. This is our second year working together on this. Sounds good. The partnership. Tell me if you got.
Yeah, so obviously we work very well with Bishop Fleming, and this year we actually Bishop Fleming came on site for 2 days a week for 3 weeks for the main part of the audit in August, and we felt that worked really well. So when you're looking at more complex matters, it's much easier working face to face, and we would encourage that moving forward. So I would hope you guys felt the same. So
yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it builds on the idea that we try and do a debrief each year. So we'll do another one after this audit, and from our perspective, we found that really worked well, because I think having that face-to-face interaction, I think definitely you get something from it more so than doing on a Teams call.
Thank you. No. Yes. Any other comments, folks? It really is sort of. I think we should be pleased with ourselves. Normally I take a clap. I'm not going to go embarrass you with that one, but so do you want to go on to? Do we need to note it?
It's just noted.
It's noted. Just a proposal then. Yeah. Thank you. Got it all. Thank you. Right. Next, part 2.
Thank you, Joe. So this second report is a second report we issue as the council's external auditors as part of our duties regarding the arrangements in place over, I guess, what's termed value for money. So it's not saying is there value for money, it's just are we comfortable and can we give commentary over the arrangement that council has in place. So there's 3 main areas that we consider, and this effectively becomes a public document which is published alongside the council's the statement of accounts when they're signed off as audited. So members of the public are able to then read this alongside it if they so wish. But in essence, I guess the feedback we give is that actually the arrangements from majoritively were considered to be pretty well set up. And so out of that, there are no new recommendations we've got, but we have followed up on those that were raised in the prior year, and pleased to say many of we consider to be resolved, and we've marked that as such, but there are some which we continue to monitor, and there's one in particular which you'll see at the end about sort of carbon commitments and how that's costed. And again, we have a response from management about it in terms of how they consider it, which we're comfortable with, and obviously that will be something we'll continue to follow up and consider as part of next year's audit. But yeah, I guess
thank you.
Relatively clean bit of health.
Thank you. I know some councillors, and we would love to see a massive budget for carbon reduction. I think the officers look for grants, look at opportunities where we can. Done well this year. I think the boiler at Ilfracombe and some solar panels. What can we do? Any comments? No.
Just very quickly, I'm really pleased to see the environmental enhancements that are being made.
Yes.
I know that the solar panels in crematorium were fitted last week. So hopefully we will see a reduction in the use of electricity, and also cost savings to the authority as a result of that.
Yeah. I mean, I think so. It's quite important that we've got a budget that comes out underspent. We've got a good audit. We've got a good value for money audit. I think again, thank you for everyone involved. Just to notice it, a proposal, please. Okay, and one blank. Yeah, Councillor Quinn. Thank you. Councillor Quinn. Okay, moving on to letter representation, is that correct? Are you covering that one, Tony?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'm going to present and run through item 14, which is the letter representation. This is a letter formally responding to the auditors, Bishop Fleming, confirming that the governance arrangement in place and the authority's responsibilities on the financial statement presented. The document sets out the disclosures made to the auditors regarding estimated figures and that the authority is unaware of any further risks other than those already disclosed. The letter is presented here today in advance of the full council meeting taking place on the 19th of November. The letter is required as part of the final process of the approval of the Statement of Accounts 24-25 and the formal sign-off from the external auditors. That concludes the presentation. Yeah.
Thank you. Any comments? No. Record. Do we need to create or not it?
We've been to agree with that one to full council.
Have a proposal, please. Josh. Councillor Howard Booth, all in favour? Thank you. Good, thank you. Originally, I said we agreed to cover the employee survey next. Not at the time. I can't remember. I think it was Councillor Bushell that requested this. I can't remember if it was or if it's Howard Booth. I'm wondering if we move it and take it to the next meeting. It's a light meeting, but we got capacity in the next meeting. Can I have a proposal? It's to move item 8, employee survey, to the next meeting. Councillor Walker. Thank you. Councillor Quinn, all in favour? Thank you. Right. Moving on to thank the team. Thank you. Right. You and have a handful of others, is it? I'm not sure. I mean the team. Thank you. Exceptions to contract rules. Monitoring officer.
Yes, I mean, So yes, this is just so pursuant to the contract procedure rules where strategy and resources set aside the contract procedure rules for so where a matter would otherwise normally be tendered. Strategy and resources has the power to set aside that requirement to allow a direct award to a contractor. So in this case, it was the street marshal scheme for this, well, for 2026, and the and strategy and resources are approved setting aside those rules to allow the direct award to the incumbent contractor. That was on the basis that the incumbent contractor had set up a, well, like it says in the extract there, had existing relationships around the town, and it was still considered to be a best value contract. So this is just brought for you, being to scrutinise really.
Yeah, this went to strategy resources, agreed there. It doesn't say here the value. Do you know what the annual value might be?
Did I before? I have a potential conflict of interest because my sister is a street marshal. I don't know if the monitoring officer wants to comment on that before we undergo discussions. I didn't realise this was on the agenda, to be honest.
We're not discussing. This has already been agreed.
Yeah, so I would have thought that would be okay because this is only scrutinising the item really, rather than deciding on it. Yeah, that's
really quick later down the line.
Thank you. Any comments on this? my observation was, you know, I've worked in procurement many years ago, and people will try and work around European rules. Well, not European, whatever the rules are nowadays. And I was interested in what the value might be that sort of next. I know that we're dependent on different grants and we sort of part fund it. If next year we should be asking for a sort of a mini tender or a market testing, really, it'll be 2 years on, rather than just going out to this company again. Ken might kick in, say something there, I don't know. But I feel a little bit uncomfortable just going out to the same company again 2 years after the full tender. Any thoughts on that? Am I overthinking it?
My question was just going to be the same as yours. What's the overall value? Because the funding contributions are mentioned, but not the overall.
I'm sure Tony's speaking on there, isn't he? It Ken may not be aware. Is he? Any idea, Ken?
Not off the top of my head, Chair. No, I'd have to get back to you on that.
Should we just leave it from there? Anything?
Well, I mean, it's going to be due in a few months, isn't it? I think we're going to get a chance to do it again. You know, if it's something that, excuse me, has been looked at by another committee and you know, no one's got any major concerns, I think we.
Okay.
I would also like to mention that if the town council has agreed to put more money towards it than they have done in previous years, which is what it looks like based on the numbers, I'd say that they're pretty happy with the current contractors as well. And we should take their recommendations as the people on the lower tier.
I mean, I'll leave it at the marshal officer, as long as we're not breaching our procurement rules. Leave it with you.
Thank you. Well, yeah. So strategy and resources have the power to set aside those rules. I think the issue comes from, like you said, the fact that there is no, we never know in any given year whether there's going to be funding. I understand is the position. I'm just having a quick look. The value for the contract that we're in at present is 216,593. That was from 1st of August 24 to 31st of December 25. I can't remember the exact duration of this new one, but yeah, we'll leave it there.
And I've just said my concerns. I'm not planning to get any further than that, or just observations. So, Councillor Walker.
Yeah, the amounts can be found in the strategy and resources report from October the 6th this year.
I think we were both there, but I can't remember what it was.
And the estimated cost of a 12-month contract is the cost to the North Devon Council is £74,852, with a contribution from Barnstaple Town Council of 38,000 on top of that, plus 8,000 from Ilfracombe Town Council on top of that.
Once we get value for money, that's okay. So recommendations. The committee note the actions taken to address it.
No.
Oh no, wrong one. Sorry, audit. We're looking at item. What's it? What item was it?
So all we've got, Chair, is a minute extract. So there isn't a particular recommendation, but I mean, obviously, if you wanted to make one, you can. But yeah.
Okay. Thank you. And moving on to item 16.
Take this one, Chair.
Thank you.
This is your regular report, members, on performance against the audit tracker. You'll see in Appendix A that provides a summary position, and it shows that both high recommendations are currently not yet due. 14 out of the 15 medium recommendations are also not yet due.
Thank you.
There is one overdue medium recommendation, and that's been detailed in Appendix C. That relates to the update of health and safety policies. There is a small time extension to the 31st of January that's been requested to complete the review of lone working policy and body-worn cameras. Appendix E, that just covers off the annual governance statement recommendations. Again, no overdue actions, and 17 of the 14 recommendations have been completed.
Yeah.
So the recommendation, Chair, is just to note the actions that's taken place since the last committee. That's your Appendix B. And to raise any concerns on the outstanding action.
No, it's good to see a lot of actions closed off. I think you've been active in chasing some of the teams. Any comments?
Sort of getting a little bit confused when we were looking at this earlier, which is probably not.
There's a lot to read.
So yeah,
Say the big we.
under the low risk,
Yeah.
the overdue ones on the low risk, if the numbers refer to the number of items that are overdue at the moment in each of those areas.
Yes, it is the number of low recommendations. So we're saying there's 10 low recommendations
Yeah.
currently outstanding.
Now, as an audit committee, it's sort of the guidance really is sort of we concentrate on the medium and high risk strategic. The low risks our internal audit would sort of pick up, but it's low risk.
And to reassure you, we have pushed those low recommendations through senior management team, and it was a higher figure last time it came to the committee.
Yeah, well, it was more that I couldn't explain to Councillor Cam what it actually meant.
Councillor Canby, Councillor Canby.
It does also seem like quite a few of the overdue low risk things are things that we're so not like consideration community governance review of consideration and draft proposal.
Yeah. So I think it's, praise to the teams closing off one reasonable extension. So can I have a proposal recommendations? Councillor Walker, second, Howard Bruce, all in favour? Thank you. Moving to the last item, which is the last item, isn't it?
Yes, Chair, this is just your standard work programme members. So again, you've got your, I think it's actually like the Chair was saying, relatively light agenda so far in January. You've got your normal internal, external audit report, corporate risk register, audit tracker. We have subsequently moved the employee survey onto your January meeting. But there is potential space for other items. We did discuss the effectiveness of committee reports. So again, whether you wanted to have an informal meeting to discuss that in slightly later committee meeting, or whether you wanted to look at a specific risk area, which you've done in the past. Kind of over to members if there's any comments.
What I'd like to propose, those who may not realise, 4 out of 5 meetings we have our risk register. So, and what we've done in the past is we've looked at the high risks, have an update from the relevant head of service or manager. It's part A, so I'm drawing too much detail here. But, so I was proposing that we've not had an update on housing, which is a financial risk to us. There's been some good news really. I think we're seeing a reduction in the expenditure on accommodation in hotels, etc. And we've had some funding. So I'm proposing, if you're in agreement, that we ask the relevant head of service or manager to come in and give us an update on that. Proposal, secretary, Councillor Quinn, thank you.
Sorry, Chair, Ken would like to cover
it.
Sorry, Chair. Can I just clarify, because there's a number of different strands within the housing sphere. So, we have people that are dealing with housing supply, for instance, housing renewal, housing standards, etc. And then there's the homelessness and temporary accommodation that you just referred to. Is it that aspect that you particularly want an update on? Because I'm just trying to get an idea as to which officers I need to get involved, that's all.
So simplistically, it's risk linked to our risk register. So they all link into our risk register.
So that would be mainly the homelessness, temporary accommodation then?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, thank you. No, okay.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Okay. And as far as a workshop, would you rather we discussed it sort of a daytime, online, or at the end of this meeting? think trying to get to the late meeting, you want to go home. So shall I come back to you with a workshop that's sort of online something or during the day to discuss the actions from the governance effectiveness report?
Should we do, can I move that we do it in the day because our officers have enough late
Yeah,
nights
we
to
can do
do
it
it?
online, and I can always meet with those that aren't available. We can have a separate session if need be. But I think the idea is we'll bring something to this committee for those that couldn't make it. All right, so we'll go ahead with a daytime session. We stay behind a meeting for those that can't make that. That's the end of our meeting, I think, isn't it? Anything else you want to add to the work plan? No. What happens is every quarter I meet with the chairs of strategic resources and policy and scrutiny. Something might come on this, might go off this, to make sure there's no overlap. Okay, thank you. I close the meeting and thank everyone for their input today, including our external auditors. The meeting, thank you.